Atlantic, Ocean, the Mediterranean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there.
Where?
Right there, see him? He's laying down, you see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And still I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a senator.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it.
Yeah, look. There he is.
Easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people. Criminals.
So you have Donald Trump about to take the stage. Donald Trump, a very, very possible candidate to be the next president of the biggest power in the world. So this is, a top VIP, regardless of one's politics. This, from a security perspective, this isn't a minor politician who's just, chatting to a few people. This is somebody of significance. As a result of that, there should not be 1 square inch within the entire vicinity, within that sniper range that I earlier discussed, not 1 entire square inch that isn't known to the security experts, the Secret Service and their affiliates, including local police, etc. So they would have had that whole area completely mapped out, and they'd have, before the event, planned it, draw up mock models of the whole zone. Everything, all the different angles, all the different hidden, concealed areas, everything that could potentially constitute a danger, they would have or should have covered that in terms of preparation and planning for it, so that if anything happens, including anything that was perhaps somewhat benign, a car backfiring or something else that could suggest something far worse, they would be prepared for it. And also prepared for other considerations such as crowd control, many people there, and, things that can go wrong with that if there's panic, etc. So everything should have been orchestrated. Everything should have been like clockwork. Everything I've seen in the reports, including the visuals, the videos, etc., suggest everything was not clockwork. By contrast, it was chaotic and muddled and amateurish. Everything I've described looked muddled and amateurish. The Secret Service reaction time, the fact that a sniper was allowed to get as close as he did onto the roof, the fact that alleged sightings of that gunman that were reported to the police were not reacted to quickly or indeed taken credibly. The very slow pace that Trump was escorted finally off the stage after the shot, after he was hit in the ear. So we're talking, just, an inch or two away from the brain. So he could have been dead. So that lack of speed, that lack of urgency, everything about it. And of course, there are reports that have come out that there were other casualties within the crowd as well. So what happened there? How are the crowd treated? How are they ushered out? There is an overall sense that this took all of the so-called professionals by surprise, and when it happened, it does not look as though they seem to have some coordinated idea as to what to do.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle.
I did. Now, obviously, those witness comments are anecdotal, and again, the police and the FBI will be judging the credibility of those accounts. But if they're to be believed, then that is remarkable. I saw a video of one witness stating that he and others drew to the attention of a nearby police officer that there was a man, as he described it, bear crawling up the side of a building with a rifle slung on his back. And to use the witness's description, the police officer just sort of looked around and went, where, sort of thing. Now, again, whether that's completely true or whatever, but there do seem to be these accounts coming out that there were reports of a shooter that had made his way onto the roof of that building. And the reaction time accordingly was very slow stroke non-existent. If there's report of a shooter in the vicinity, in the target zone where the address was being made, then all sorts of things would happen. The first thing is neutralize the target, or sweep that area, send in teams to zone in on that particular location, and if necessary, kill the target, kill the individual, or at the very least, ascertain whether the sightings were credible or not, but certainly go straight into that area. At the same time, it becomes an emergency situation, and as a result of that, procedures need to be set in train in regards to the address itself, Trump's appearance on stage. That will be delayed whilst the vicinity was investigated, with a view to ascertaining whether it was safe for him to actually step on stage. And now Trump, like any other politician in that situation, wouldn't have liked those instructions, but the security detail, in this case the Secret Service, would have had authority to say to him, no, you're not allowed to go onto stage. You grab Donald Trump very, very firmly, and you drag him back very, very fast. So from movement to Trump, to grabbing him, to getting him out of sight, completely out of sight, off the stage, that could be done within 1 to 2 seconds. The bear hug of the Secret Service men and women surrounding Donald Trump is a very, very surprising tactic that I've never seen before, and I question it for many reasons. Firstly, the obvious thing to do is get Trump off stage, because then he's a rapidly moving target. Now, even if you're an expert sniper, trying to hit a moving target is always very difficult. So they would have automatically made the job of a second or third shot that much harder by moving Trump at speed. Keeping him in a static position, therefore, enables the sniper to reload or whatever and take aim again. So that's one thought. And the other thought as well, and this is just purely on technicalities, the other thought is of course, at this stage, they have no idea what kind of weapon the sniper has. Now, even with hidden bulletproof vests, for example, underneath the garments of the Secret Service, there are high-velocity weapons that could still go through and still hit the target. Or indeed, if the sniper is expert enough, go for a headshot, because that bear hug kind of surround that the Secret Service did not conceal Donald Trump's head. In terms of the security, which would be primarily conducted by the Secret Service, as we know, the American Secret Service, there would have been typically a huge amount of organization and forward planning, and within which there would have been all the what ifs, every possible angle, potential eventuality would have been considered. So these types of events they're a nightmare to construct, but organizations like the Secret Service do have the expertise to conduct that. And one would imagine that prior to Trump taking the stage, they'd have thought through everything. Now, whether that actually happened or not is a different issue, but these things can be done. They can be organized and they can be prepared for. Security experts like the Secret Service do have a vast amount of prior experience to draw upon, including sort of dossiers, manuals, rule books, etc. But they're constantly updating that body of knowledge, subject to new events, new occurrences, new information, or latest techniques or whatever. So these are supposedly the professionals. They're supposed to be top of their game in terms of understanding everything that could potentially happen, and then have, obviously, the ability to react to that accordingly. I'm seeing what everyone else is seeing, which is the videos that have been put out on media, etc. But looking at the reaction, there are big question marks that have to be asked. The reaction from the Secret Service does seem to be somewhat delayed and almost, I would suggest, somewhat chaotic. That's one observation. The second is that we do now have some information about the layout of events. Where was the sniper in relation to Donald Trump and these Secret Service protection details? So we've got a pretty good schematic map of where the players were, within which it is extremely surprising that the sniper, who's been named as Thomas Krups, managed to get anywhere near as close as he actually did, 130 meters apparently from Trump, which beggars belief that that could have happened in what would have otherwise been or should have been a top security event. I don't think it was particularly unusual that the event was open air, a public event, because after all, this is the campaign trail. Presidential nominees have to appeal to people. They have to be seen out and about. And of course, it can be very destructive if they're trying to do things, make appeals from behind closed doors or, overly secure compounds or whatever. So the open air aspect of it all doesn't surprise me. That's what politicians have to do. They, all sort of like politicians do have to some extent put their necks on the line. So that comes with the territory. So that doesn't surprise me. But what does surprise me very much is that every possibility wasn't really nailed down by the security experts. Well, a basic rule of thumb would be for security experts like the Secret Service would be to ensure that nobody could get within sniper range of VIP target. Now, sniper range, that can be up to a kilometer, even a mile away. So they would have that, or at least should have had that firmly in mind. Every single building, every window, every slight contour in the ground, anywhere that a sniper could conceal him or herself, they'd have ensured that, or should have ensured that wasn't possible. For an individual to get this close up onto the roof of a building that directly oversaw the stage area where Trump was giving his address, that is remarkable that was allowed to happen. Whereas what should have happened would be he would be dragged, even if it was kicking and screaming, he would be dragged off the stage within seconds and taken to safety away from the danger zone. Looking at what they did on stage in Pennsylvania, I don't think it was their finest hour. Yeah, the Secret Service people pride themselves on the fact that they will take a bullet for the person they're trying to protect. So that comes with the territory as part of the pledge and all the rest of it. So there's no doubt. I mean, given my remarks about or questions over how the Secret Service replied, that in no way takes away from the bravery attached to the job that these men and women do. And they would have been prepared to take another bullet to protect Donald Trump, who happened to be the VIP on this occasion. So that's not in question, but I do question the tactics.